Hello everyone, it's your favourite neighbourhood audio DJ here to welcome you to 2022 Electric Boogaloo. We're full into the swing of the new year by now, and it already feels like we've managed to fit 5 years worth of events into just 2 months. Please God stop, I'm so tired. A new season's here with our winter entertainment now in full flow. We've been putting up with so much for so long that maybe we do deserve that break. Maybe finally we can have a few weeks of calm without being reminded of the ordeals we've just been through or what might be awaiting us around the corner.
Are we really about to tell the President of the United States that we have just over 6 months until humankind, basically every species, is completely extinct?
That's exactly what we're about to do, yeah.
I just had to open my mouth, didn't I? You just had to remind us, didn't you, Hollywood? Alright, look, I know what they were trying to do with Don't Look Up, get a bunch of the most profitable and noticeable stars in Hollywood and have them make a big statement about the way the governments of the world have been reacting to the current world situation. Yes, it's depressing at times. Yes, you can't help but laugh at the absurdity of some of the characters within the— okay, you know what, I think they were making a point with this one. It's in a similar vein to the likes of Shin Godzilla. You can't exactly take the giant radioactive lizard seriously, but the government's reaction to it draws heavily from the 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami, and at least offers a minor form of escapism through art. Don't Look Up, on the other hand, offers you nothing but some cold hard facts about the way society as a whole seems to react to the inevitable. It's a mix of Idiocracy, Mars Attacks, and Armageddon, with often broad and preposterous humour that's just sharp enough to keep its dark edge. However, at times the satire can be a little too specific, the characters a bit too close to real well-known political figures, and the metaphors entirely too obvious. Despite this, the all-star cast puts in performances that should be more than expected by now. Jennifer Lawrence, DiCaprio, Meryl Streep, they're all well known by now, and even Jonah Hill is hilariously awful as the president's obnoxious son and highly unqualified chief of staff. If I had to sum the movie up overall, it would probably be something like this. Have you ever wanted to snap your fingers menacingly while walking down the street? Join your homies in a dance montage whenever one of them has beef? Or burst into song about how the sun looks extra bright today? Then do I have the film for you.
Jotaro! Dio! Ho, 向かってくるのか。逃げずにこのディオに近づいてくるのか。近づかなきゃてめえをぶちのめせないんだな。
In a turn of events that surprises no one these days, West Side Story has been remade. I've heard from fans that the original one was pretty good, and having previously never watched the original, I wasn't sure what to expect going into this one, and in the end I gotta say, yeah, it was alright. The colours are vibrant and the songs are fresh, and any fan of the original will find something to enjoy here. And at the end of the day, I think that's more than you could possibly want out of a film these days. Spielberg knows what he's doing as a director, so it shouldn't even be in doubt that the film would turn out as well as it did. Now, if only James Cameron could make something great more than once a decade. You know, as much as I enjoy a good franchise film, there's just something about originals or sequels to originals that really tickle my fancy. We've got Tall Girl 2, a sequel that somehow actually exists. There's a new Roland Emmerich disaster movie. When I first saw the trailer for Moonfall, I thought to myself, that looks dumb as hell. And there was nothing in the trailer that really grabbed me, so as you can see, we're probably not missing out on much. Like I was saying, I think we've got a real Oscar winner right here. Sing 2, Matrix 4, there's even a third Kingsman movie. You should take my opinions on everything with a large helping of salt because I laugh at some of the stupidest shit, but I thought it was a genuinely entertaining movie at times, despite the tonal whiplash. Not quite Elton John turning into John Wick, but if you've got a few hours to kill, why not give it a try? At least then I won't be the only person who seems to have actually watched it. Hey, where are you going? Now, it's fair to say that many fellow internet dwellers have been hyping up Spider-Man No Way Home as one of, if not the biggest movie of the year, but I just don't see it. Marvel are known for creating unique and fun characters with the larger-than-life charisma of your average celebrity with personalities about as deep as a duck pond, and yet despite all of this, they've chosen to do nothing with Spider-Man as a character over all these years. Take this for example. Not only was he brought in to help out during the conflict in Civil War, but he also helped the Avengers make their last stand against Thanos during the events of Endgame, and yet at no point do they ask him what his name is, or why he hasn't taken his mask off in any of their previous interactions. I find it hard to root for a character whose face we've never seen, let alone know anything about, and that only leaves me with one burning question. Do we even really know who this guy is? Now, the film selection might be considered a little tame this season, but the TV shows we were given were a right handful. Demon Slayer Season 2 waltzed into our lives just to flex on us with the budget of Jeff Bezos' ego rocket, dropped some absolutely mind-blowing animation, and then left like the Giga Chad that Uzui is. Euphoria's back to remind us to say no to drugs. Blade Runner Black Lotus asks the deep question of what does it truly mean to be human when you look like a better version of Ghost in the Shell's SAC 2045. And Archive 81 had me so far off the edge of my seat, I may as well have no-clipped my way to the pearly gates there and then.
Dad?
I want to explore Tusken Raider culture and traditions.
Son, you know, once you start, there's no going back.
I know.
This means total commitment. Once you begin the path, there is no leaving the path. Are you sure you're ready for that? I mean, really ready?
I guess so.
Neat. We'll start tomorrow.
The Book of Boba Fett is a really mixed bag of a show. On one side you have an entire episode purely dedicated to Tusken Raider society and traditions, and it not only makes them one of the more interesting species in the Star Wars universe, but it also challenges the previously conceived notions that we've had about them since they first showed up in the original trilogy. It also happens to be one of the best episodes of the season.
Like a panther. Yes?
Though he doesn't speak the language, Boba experiences a slow burn assimilation to their way of life amidst the desert sand, with Temuera Morrison's ever-pensive demeanour particularly shining in sequences that feature little dialogue. It's a fantastic look into the lesser-known cultures of the Star Wars universe, and the accompanying music and lighting make this episode stand out far and above the others. And on the other hand, we have the Breakfast Club riding around on space Vespers, in what can only be described as the slowest high-speed chase in recorded history. I'm not one to lie and say I openly dislike things just because they didn't quite meet my expectations, and that statement's especially true with this show. There's times when I'm genuinely invested in what's going on and the possible implications this story could have on the future of the franchise, but there's also times when I'm sat looking at my screen trying to piece together what I've just witnessed. Especially during the latter half of the season when it turns into The Mandalorian Season 2.5. Like, woo, yay, I'm happy Mando's back, but for the love of God, why did you set the show on Tatooine again?
I don't like sand.
In the end, it's perhaps best to remember that Boba Fett was only on screen for a few short minutes in the original Star Wars trilogy, yet he still became nothing short of a cultural icon. It's fittingly ironic then that the best parts of his own TV show are the ones that barely feature him at all. All of Us Are Dead seems to be sweeping through Netflix faster than the show's own zombie plague does through high school students. Following in the wake of the global smash hit K-drama Squid Game and the record-breaking 2016 zombie thriller movie Train to Busan, All of Us Are Dead is a large-scale dystopian story set in the high school of Hyosan, South Korea, and based on a webtoon of the same name by author Ju Dong-gyun. In a single afternoon, the massive Hyosan high school complex is plunged into chaos after one errant bite from a science lab test animal starts an irreversible chain reaction that sees the school and surrounding country plunged into a zombie outbreak. The 12-episode Korean series focuses heavily on the social inequalities that were exposed by the current world's pandemic, while at the same time offering strong commentary on the mental toxicity of the teenage experience. At any given moment, writer Chung Seong-il is juggling between 5 to 6 separate subplots, and none of them feel underdeveloped or boring, nor are all of them set inside the school. Thankfully, it's not all doom and gloom. There's some minor comic relief, which ranges from ill-fitting music to the sight of a social media star live-streaming his journey into a literal hellhole. Compared to its predecessor, The Walking Dead, which chose to focus on how adults have already adapted to the new environment they find themselves in and the strengths of community bonds, All of Us Are Dead deliberately frames the apocalypse from the perspective of teenagers living through the very start of said apocalypse. Because even though the politicians and army chiefs might not realize it, their days are numbered. They won't have to clean up their mess. The kids will, and these kids most certainly are not alright. Alright, for all you fantasy nerds like myself out there, here's the big one. The Witcher Season 2 was one of the most anticipated shows this season, and I'm glad to say that it didn't disappoint. Much. After the rather tumultuous reaction to its first season, which left many viewers with cosmically induced aneurysms trying to piece together the timeline so that it made sense, I bet you never knew that Geralt and Jaskier had known each other for 22 years by the time of the Dragon episode, huh? My man was 18 in episode 2 and 41 by episode 6. If I've learned anything from this show so far, it's that I want this guy's skincare routine. Those that persisted through this headache inflicted by Satan herself were given the gift of a second season, and damn was it good to see Geralt fit into those tight pants again. Thankfully, having learnt its mistakes from the first time round, the second season came out swinging with an almost completely linear plot, strong-ish character motivations, and they stopped dyeing that poor child's eyebrows blonde. Ciri takes over as the star of the show this time round, and it's great to watch her journey from pampered princess to becoming the headstrong and confident character we all know her to be. Fresh from their embrace at the end of the first season, Season 2 starts with Ciri and Geralt travelling north towards Kaer Morhen, fortress home of the witches, interacting with all manner of people and monsters on the way, and it's through these interactions that the show begins expanding upon its mythology, future, and the nature of Cirilla herself. There are still growing pains for the show, however, with several B-plots revolving around Nilfgaard's retreat from the Battle of Sodden and the kingdom's subsequent treatment of the elves. It's here where the show begins to lose steam, I feel, with these side stories often slowing the energy of any given episode, as they can be awkwardly placed in what was previously a tense or action-heavy scene. Similarly, the many scenes at the mage stronghold of Aretuza can weigh down the main narrative. While it may not have ended great, I still believe Game of Thrones managed to make the political discussions and sabotage interesting. However, here there's definitely something missing. These meanderings, however, eventually bear answers, but only in service of the show's future seasons. It's only during the last 3 episodes or so where the Netflix series hits fast forward on a few of these subplots, and only then do they finally feel relevant to Ciri and Geralt's more captivating journey. Despite these problems, The Witcher Season 2 is undoubtedly an improvement on the unnecessarily complicated first season. All 8 episodes help scratch that fantasy itch that many of us have been feeling since some of our favourite shows ended, especially with its best upcoming star, Freya Allan as Cirilla, now positioned in a much more prominent role, even going so far as to right many of its prior wrongs instead of stubbornly persisting with them, despite there being minor changes from the source material this time round as well. However, its unfocused, meandering B-plots prove that the show needs to be reined in just a little more in future. Thankfully, it's all set up for a potentially staggering 3rd season that, much like the games and books it's based on, could end in a chilling outcome. Well, that's it. It's hard to believe it's been 3 months already since my last seasonal review, and here we are again. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, as I put a lot of time and effort into it, and I'm hoping to keep improving going forward, each step at a time. So thank you all for the support, the likes, the subs and comments. They all mean a lot to me, and I take all the advice to heart as I want to make the best content possible for all of you. Now that's enough sentimental shit. I've been Nefri, and I'll see you all in the next one.